What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, we got some big news from boss man Dana White. We have our main event and co-main event for UFC 310, and it seems like we pretty much have our main card up to this point. I'm sure they'll announce some more prelims soon, but this card is looking very, very good. So we got our main event, kind of the one we were expecting, with Islam being sidelined for a little bit longer. It looks like that'll take place in January, like we were kind of expecting. It seems like the DDP fight's going to take place in February. So it seems like the timeline we were kind of expecting is going to continue with those fights. But we have Belal, remember the name, Muhammad, against Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, this fight is going to be a good one. I, like you guys know, am not a fan of Belal by any means, so I'm not going to give my predictions for this yet because it's a little too far ahead in advance. But like I've said before, do I think that Shavkat deserves this? Yes. I do think it's a little early, though. Like, there's other guys, too. I think with this being said, like guys like JDM, I know he's hurt right now. I think it would have been better. If JDM was not hurt, I think you do Shavkat versus JDM. The winner gets the fight against Belal. But Belal, I mean, obviously, as we know, Shavkat undefeated. Belal hasn't lost a fight in what? How many years? Like 6 or more years, something like that at this point. So, like, this is going to be a good fight. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Belal at all, really. But the way that he destroyed Leon was like, okay, you got to admit this guy is pretty good. Shavkat is also very good as well, but like I said, I just don't know how this is going to go as of right now. I think I'm interested to see what the odds are going to look like if they have the opening odds yet. But either way, this is going to be a great fight. Does Shavkat continue his finishing streak, or does Belal take it? If Belal can just take him to 5 rounds, I don't know. Can Shavkat go 5 rounds? We don't know. There's a lot of things that we just don't know about these two guys right now. Obviously, we know a lot about Belal, but how is he going to fight a guy like Shavkat? Completely different style than Leon. Leon, just kind of a little sluggish. Yeah, he has that one KO over over Usman, that won him the belt. But besides that, like, he's not a finisher. We knew that fight was going to decision. I don't think there's anyone that was about to watch that fight and said, oh, someone's getting finished in this fight. We all knew that was going to decision. So Shavkat versus Belal, there's a lot of variables that we don't know about. If Shavkat ready, he really hasn't had that massive top guy yet. And going into this fight, is he going to be able to go 5 rounds? What happens if he can't get the knockout in the first 3 rounds? Does he just knock him out in 30 seconds? Who knows? There's a lot of unknowns for this. And speaking of unknowns, I mean, next up here in the co-main event, we have Alexandre Pantoja defending his belt against Japanese star Kai Asakura. I've watched some of these fights from him, not all of them, but I did see the signing, and whenever it was, I think it was I don't know if it was weeks or months ago, but I saw that he signed. He was going to have his UFC debut, so I went back and watched some of his fights, especially his most recent ones. And let me tell you guys, I mean, his last 2 fights ending with body shots. That's kind of crazy when we think about this. Like, both of these fights right here, I would recommend you guys. It's not hard to find these fights. Like, you can just go on YouTube and find most of them anyway. But I would definitely go and watch some of these fights. I mean, this kid is good. I don't know if he's going to be able to beat Pantoja. I mean, this is a very, very, very big debut, because we're looking at a guy right here that's 30 years old, right? He's still young. Like, we're talking about MMA, 30 years old. He's entering his prime right about now, we would assume. So this guy comes in here at 30 years old, wins the belt in his debut. Who knows? The whole entire division is shaken up. And I know why they're doing this fight. Because no one else, Dana White said no one else is willing to take this fight. And that makes sense. Because who's going to go against this guy who is a champion, coming from his own right, and he's coming into the UFC as a guy who went out there knocking out guys. I mean, we can look at his record here and Ryzen 13-3, 8 knockouts. So that's pretty good, especially when we're talking about flyweight also, by the way. We're talking about flyweight. This guy is a striker. This guy is going to be able to put your lights out and also just attack that body well, too, with his past 2 knockouts being by body shots. So a very interesting fight as well. And I know why they're bringing him in. This division needs a lot of help right now. One of the bottom 2 divisions, in my opinion, right now. There's just not a lot of interesting guys when we look at guys like Steve Erceg. We're supposed to come up so close to winning the championship and then just gets flatlined in his next fight. Loses that championship opportunity and then gets knocked out in the next one. So I don't know what's next for a guy like Steve Erceg, but he was so close to getting to the top and then just fell off so quickly. Can he come back? Yeah, definitely. But when we're looking at guys within this division, there's not too many names that get me too excited. But let's say Kai wins this fight, and also UFC Fight Night, which is as of tonight of this recording, Tatsuro Taira. Well, let's say he beats Brandon Royval. We have a Japanese champion versus a Japanese number 1 contender, right? That, I mean, the UFC has to go to Japan at that point. If either one of them wins the belt, obviously. But imagine if Kai wins this fight, goes out there, gets the belt, and goes against Taira next. You got to have UFC Japan, right? That's just the next step. And I think that's what they're thinking about. They have 2 opportunities here to have a Japanese champion. So the UFC kind of brewing that up a little bit as well, but also trying to bring in a younger, more exciting guy that can give you some finishes. Because the thing about flyweights is, yeah, we've had some exciting fights, but let's look at the flyweight championship history within the past few years. If we look at the championship defenses, it's the same guys every single time, it seems like, to this point. I mean, obviously we had Demetrius Johnson back then, but if we look at the most recent ones, right? Pantoja versus Brandon Royval versus Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno had the belt, defeats Figueiredo. Figueiredo versus Moreno 5 million times, obviously. We saw that fight, it felt like. So there's just, we need some new blood. We need some new guys in there. Erceg was the opportunity. He lost his chance, but I think he could be back. This is going to be a fantastic fight. And like I said, both of these fights, I have no idea as of right now. Like, I want to give you guys my honest opinion to start off, but I have no idea. I'm going to need to go back and watch more of his fights as well. And both of these champions, not my favorite champions on the roster. Pantoja, you know, he's all right, but like I said, I just kind of want a guy that's a little more exciting too, if we could, as a champion, and we have an opportunity here. So, and the same thing with, I just don't like Belal. You guys know that. Shavkat, another exciting guy. So if we were going to get 2 new champions on this card, I would not be upset about that at all. But I don't know yet. Obviously, we got some time to think of some predictions, but there's so many unknowns. Next up, though, we did also announce that we have Nick Diaz versus Vicente Luque, which was rebooked from earlier, whenever, I forget exactly when that was supposed to be, but it was supposed to be within the past like month or 2, and then obviously that one got rescheduled. I think it was supposed to be on that Saudi card. I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly. Don't fact check me on that one, but I mean, I don't know how to feel about that one. It seems like an interesting matchup for Diaz there. I know a lot of people are kind of calling maybe you get the Tony Ferguson double retirement fight there. Am I excited about this one? A little bit. I mean, it'll be cool to see Diaz come back in, but I have no idea what to expect from that matchup at all. Ciryl Gane versus Volkov, though. These are the next ones that we already have announced that I'm excited for. So I don't know who is going to be pushed off of the main card because we have those 2 championship fights, obviously. Main event, co-main event. And then we already have these 3 fights right here. And then we also have Nick Diaz, who is a big enough name that you could put him on the main card, but does that mean we're going to throw Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev? Getting tripped up with the names there. Yeah, on the prelims. I don't know. This is a good card, though, looking at this. I mean, these top 6 fights are ready. It's going to be a very, very good card. Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. Is Reyes really coming back? Is he going to be going in there and getting a title shot within the next year? Who knows? Maybe this is the comeback time. Ciryl Gane versus Volkov. We have not seen Ciryl Gane in a while. And, you know, a lot of people are wondering, how good is he? I guess we got to find out next. I mean, if Ciryl Gane becomes the #1 contender, John Jones retires, and we have Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane, that would be a great card. You throw that in Europe, French versus the English, that's going to be a very, very rowdy crowd. And then obviously Evloev versus Sterling, another great fight in the featherweight division. Both good contenders right there. This is going to be a great, great card, especially to end the year. I mean, there's not much we could ask for a better card than this up to this point. I'm sure they're going to add some more prelims as well, which will be exciting. Hopefully we get some more contenders on here. But talk about a way to end the year. This is going to be a great card. I believe, I think this next one, UFC on ESPN 63, I think that's the last card of the year. But last event, maybe there's one more after that. That's on December 14th. I don't know. But this will be the last pay-per-view of the year, which is going to be great. Great pay-per-view to end it. Obviously, 309, pretty decent, but we'll see what happens. I mean, this is going to be a very good card overall. I'm very excited to see the debut here of Kai Asakura. I'm getting my names mixed up right here. Got to get used to saying that because who knows? Maybe he's the next flyweight champion of the world. Let me know what you guys think of this card so far. Obviously, there's a lot that they still got to kind of figure out and to finish up this card, but we're looking pretty good right now. We got a lot of good fights coming up, so we'll see what happens. This should be a great card, and obviously we'll continue to build up to it within the next 2 months. And by then, we'll have some more predictions. This just kind of going over the news that we just got live. So make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, on the road to 100 subscribers. So I'll see you guys in the next one.